Hey everyone, welcome to this video. I don't even know why I'm holding this lens right now. Hey everybody, welcome to this video. Dehancer actually reached out to me. They said that I should try out their new Dehancer Pro Plug-In. So today that's what we're going to be doing. This one's going to be about the Davinci Resolve version. I'm going to do a separate video on the whole Capture One photo editing workflow. For this one, we're going to focus on Davinci, so it's going to be video. And this one's not going to be like an in-depth tutorial or anything. It's more like an overall review after playing around with the plugin for a few days. And I'm going to give you my honest and unfiltered opinion on it. The Dehancer team is going to see the review just like you're seeing it right now. Like I'm not going to send it to them before publishing it. So it's just going to be an honest and real review. So I'm just gonna play back a few clips right now and you're gonna see the before and the after. So what I did here, and that was one thing that was especially important to me, is I actually mixed and I tried out the plugin with several different types of footage. So the first shot you're gonna see here, this is actually something I shot on my Fujifilm. All of these clips were captured during a shoot that I did up in Montana for a fishing brand. These are clips that ended up not being in the final product, which is the reason I'm allowed to show them with you right now. So we showed on 3 different cameras, one being the Fujifilm X-T3, one being the Ursa 12K, the Blackmagic Ursa 12K, so we're having B-raw footage in here, and then another one was the Red Epic Scarlet, the Red Weapon Scarlet, I don't even know. Either way, DSMC2 body, red raw, pretty slick footage, you know. And I think this one's shot in 4K 120. I'm not 100% sure, but either way, so we have 3 different cameras, 3 different kinds of footage, F-Log, B-RAW, and Red RAW. And I just started playing around with the plugin. And first of all, I gotta say, I was pretty impressed just by the fact how easy it was to get a look, a desirable film look, an authentic film look pretty quick. Pretty much when you're good with Davinci, you can do most of these things within the full version of Davinci Resolve. So I would say technically you do not need the plugin if you're a colorist, if you really know what you're doing, if you have in-depth experience when it comes to color grading, color correction, etc. However, for me, not being a professional colorist, I mean, I do some color correction and I do some color grading on personal and passion projects, but I do not get hired as a colorist. So for me, it was actually a super quick and easy way to get very realistic film style results. So just here you can actually see the before and the after of the Fujifilm clip, and let's actually jump into that. And I'm just gonna show you quickly what I did. We're not gonna go into any crazy details here. If you are, however, interested in a in-depth tutorial on how to use this, make sure to let me know in the comments. Once again, this video is really just about giving you a quick overview and my honest thoughts on this plugin. So as you can see here, I went for different looks for each individual shot because I also just wanted to play around with the different film styles, and I kind of like all of them. I'm just going to go quickly into my color tab. Once again, this is certainly not a tutorial, but what I did here is I just have one contrast node, one for color and saturation, this one's for color correction, this one is simply a color space transform where I converted my footage. And then here, the last and final node is actually the Dehancer Pro 7.0, which is the version that I'm currently using. By pressing Option D, we can actually deactivate all of the nodes. So you can see this was pretty much the log footage. And now this is the final result we're getting. Once again, I'm not gonna go over all these separate nodes, doing the contrast, the saturation, color correction, color space transform, but we're really gonna just be focusing on the final node that we have here, which are all the Dehancer Pro features. So pretty much the source here is Rec 709, pretty straightforward. And then here you have the film tab. So here you can actually, and I went for the Kodak Gold, which is a film that I personally really like. But you have several, and I haven't counted them, but there are plenty of film looks and plenty of film profiles here available. And let's just check out any one just for the fun of it. So we have the Kodak Supra 100, looks pretty good too. We could do the Portra 400, and you can see we get this little nice like tint here in our image. Or we just go back to my personal favorite, the Gold, or even check out the Rolei CN 200. Okay, also a nice look here. So you can see just by pretty much one click, I mean, it's like presets, right? So you just by one click, you're getting a very nice look. What I do like about it is that they are actually extremely realistic and extremely close to the actual film looks. And you have several and many parameters to play with to actually make it even more, to bring it even closer and to bring it closer to your creative vision as well. The ease of usability and the time-saving factor is what pretty much was my biggest takeaway from this. It's like, I really like the look, I really like how fast it gives me the results that I want, and all the flexible parameters to play around with. We also have like print profiles, so we have the famous Kodak 2383 print film and the Fujifilm 3513, as well as some others. So it's also something I really think is very cool. If we enable that, it gives it a whole different look as well. And then once again, if you don't want the intensity of the layers that you're applying, you can do that as well. And one of the coolest things I thought was also the film grain. So the film grain feature is actually pretty nice because it's not just a simple overlay. They actually have an algorithm, not exactly sure how it works, but it's an algorithm that literally programs the grain into your footage. So, which makes it just much more organic and just more like actual film grain, right? So that's something I really, really liked, and I definitely decreased the size and the amount here like by a lot, because I feel it is coming out pretty strong if you just leave it by default. Let's just check it out just to give you an example. If I reset all of that, and you can see here just how tremendously the grain is, yeah, it's a lot. So I actually like it, don't get me wrong, but for the kind of work that I do, unless it's very stylistic, or I just want to like, I don't know, do like a recap, or when I have a scene in a documentary where people are talking about the past or whatever, and then this is exactly what I want, like getting that authentic, nostalgic, like film look with heavy, organic and smooth looking like grain, bit of a softer feel to the image. This is exactly what I want, right? So instead of using one of these like pre-made profiles, I could just do my custom one, and then decreasing the size and decreasing the amount. And I think this is much more something that I like and that pleases my personal taste, So yeah, and then just going, we have some halation, which you can enable and disable. The bloom, which is something I really, really love, like the bloom effect of the highlights when you're shooting on film. They have that here as well, and you can once again either select a profile or just do your own custom bloom effect. Film damage as well, so if the film is a little damaged, you can enable that, and it's definitely going to give you, once again, not just like an overlay, but actually like a very nice organic feel to it. And then same with the gate wave and some vignetting, I enabled that as well. But yeah, once again, if you like an in-depth tutorial on it, please make sure to drop it in the comments. I'd love to do that. For now, my first impression, like anything you see here, everything I did was literally within like, maybe I spent 5 minutes on doing this shot, max, probably less. So in terms of color grading, so that's once again the main benefit. It's like I was able to get this result super fast, and normally if I were to just do it in Davinci and figuring all these things out by myself, trying to imitate that film look, it would take me a long time. So for anybody that's not a professional colorist and anybody that just wants quick results that look super professional and very film-like, I think this might be a plugin you really want to look into, because personally, I haven't played around with too many plugins when it comes to that, because I usually just do all my color grading manually. But from the ones that I did play with, this is by far the best and the most powerful, and the one that gives me personally the best results. So thumbs up for that. I was actually really positively surprised. Let's jump into the next shot. So the next shot is actually, I got filmed, so this is me, duh. Because I was the only one, because we were shooting for this fly fishing brand, yeah, they needed somebody that knows how to not just film but also fly fish. So I've been fishing since I'm like a toddler. So I caught my first fish with like probably before I'd be able to speak. So anyways, but that's a different story. Yeah, this is just me walking through Yellowstone National Park in Red Raw 120, 4K 120. Filmed on the Red Scarlet, and I went for a more very warm, very like, I think the film I used here is the, yeah, you can see it's the Cinestill 800 tungsten. So T stands for tungsten, D stands for daylight. So yeah, I went with that one here, but we could have also, I think I previously actually used the Fujicolor C200. Yeah, that's one that I also really liked. As you can see here, gives you a very Western, kind of like golden, washed out look. I really like that a lot. And I was pretty much able to just copy all my adjustments from the clip before. The only thing that I had to do is obviously I had to change my note number 4, which is the color space transform here. So obviously I'm not using F-Log, but I went with the red codec. And then here I just selected a different film profile and did obviously some basic changes when it comes to saturation and color. Once again, I actually didn't try to match these two shots. I was just really playing around with them and trying to just get, you know, I mean, I think they kind of match, but you know, I could have done a better job. But once again, I wasn't really trying. They're also 2 different film profiles, by the way. So obviously they don't look exactly the same way, but I did find it easy to just copy paste them to different clips and then just play around with the parameters. So once again, huge time saver, and worked very well with the red raw. I mean, obviously, I mean, it's red raw, so worked very well. I was really happy with that. And I think I went for a bit heavier grain here as well. And then I tried out a different look. The next clip is B-Raw, actually, Blackmagic Raw. Once again, really just changed a little bit the notes before. Had to go down with the saturation a little bit. And the same thing here with the, obviously with the color space transform. And then here I used the Rollei CN200 profile and had a bit, I actually enabled the film. I think the grain is also kind of low, but I enabled the halation. And then let's just see how that looks. I think it's very beautiful. Once again, a very warm, and you got again, it's a very warm, nice film look. I think it works very well here. Also, just a quick thing about all my note trees. A very simple note tree that I have here. Normally I would have, my note tree would look completely different and much more complex, but this is actually the funny thing about it, is like you really don't need all these like gigantic amounts of note trees and have one for the vignetting, one note tree for sharpening, one for the grain, one for this and that. No, literally like this 5th like note here, which has the Dehancer Pro Plug-In on it. This gives you all the parameters in one, which I think is also amazing for people that are, once again, not super familiar with the whole Davinci color grading features and everything. So let's jump into the next shot. The next shot also B-Raw. Went with another film profile here. Went with the Kodak Portra 800, and let's just check it out right now. I filmed the shot also somewhere in Montana. And yeah, also like the result. Once again, I mean, obviously there's so much you can do, especially with B-Raw. This is definitely a look I could have totally pulled out even without the plugin, but probably would have just taken much more time. And yeah, so also really happy with that one. And then for the last shot, it's a cute little brown trout here. The last shot, it's a release shot in yeah, slow motion. Not sure if we shot it in 12K or whatever, but it's pretty cool. And yeah, I went with a, what look did I go with here? I went with the Portra 800. Okay, yeah, I definitely like the Kodak Portra look, the profiles here. And then for the print, I went with, let's go with the Fuji print or the Kodak. Oh yeah, that's nice. Yeah, I like this a lot. So, all right, and to summarize this video, I would say to get quick results, to get an authentic film look, especially like a really nice film grain, and just a very organic film feel, to add this organic film feel to your footage, I would say Dehancer, the Dehancer Pro Plug-In is definitely the best one I've tested so far, and once again, saves you a lot of time. It gives you great results. I do think it's very expensive. Not gonna lie, I think 449, 400, yeah, it's $449 for the lifetime license. It's $299 for a year, $449 for a lifetime. So I think it's a lot of money for a plugin, especially considering that the full version of Davinci Resolve is less than that. I'm not sure how much, but it's less. And you can do anything within Davinci Resolve if you know how to do it. That's the next thing. If you are not familiar with color correction, color grading, I think it's just obviously a huge learning curve that you have ahead of you before being able to get the same results that you would get with the Dehancer plugin pretty much in no time. I guess you could see it like buying a new lens. Like if I want to get like, I don't know, like a new lens, I'm spending at least, well, I mean, $449 is not a lot for a lens. So I don't know, like if you think about it like that, like an investment, you're investing into being able to expand your toolkit and to pull off different looks. So I get it that they're charging a bit more, but I would still say it's more on the expensive side, especially if you consider that actually Davinci is like cheaper, the full version. Plus you get, you can also edit with it. It's not just coloring. You can do a lot with Davinci. Talking about Premiere, this is obviously not just available for Davinci, it's also available for Premiere and other editing softwares. If you are editing in Premiere, I believe it makes even more sense to get it because you don't have all these features when it comes to color correction built in Premiere. You have it in Davinci, but you don't have it in Premiere. So if you're a Premiere guy and you're planning on sticking with that, then I think it is even more so worth the investment because it actually gives you very powerful parameters and controls over your coloring within Premiere, and you don't have to export your projects and then switch it over to Davinci and export it back, and that's a whole different story. Anyways, guys, would I recommend this? Yes, I would. I'd definitely recommend it for anybody that has the money sitting on the side and being like, hey, I want to do this. I want to expand my toolkit. I think there is some sort of like free trial version. So that for sure I can recommend you, just playing around with it and then see if you want to keep on using it. But yeah, I would say it's a pretty powerful thing, and I'm definitely going to be using it going forward for my work and for my professional work as well as YouTube and yeah, my passion projects that I do. I think I'm for sure going to use this a lot going forward. This is it for this video, guys. Thanks so much for watching. If you do decide to pick up on the tool, I would really appreciate it if you actually use the link in the description, or like use the code that I'll be putting here and that I'll be giving you, because that way I'll get a small commission, which I would really appreciate. It just helps me making more videos like that, and at the same time you save a little bit of money, I think. I hope that's the way they set it up. It's the way they should set it up. If you're not saving anything, still use it. At least I'll get something, but you should be saving something. Once again, guys, thank you so much for watching. If you do want to see an in-depth tutorial on how to color grade, make sure to drop it in the comments below. And in the next video, I'm going to be reviewing the Capture One plugin from Dehancer. So that's also going to be very exciting, and I'm just playing around with that, and yeah, looking forward to sharing my experiences as well. So I'll see you in the next video. All the best, take care, and bye-bye.